here today. I'm Vikas Shukla, Secretary TIE UP, and I'm excited to be hosting this session today. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. If you have any questions during the session, please type them into the question box in your control panel, and I'll bring them up during the session. And we also have time for questions in the end. So please mute your microphones for uninterrupted session because we keep getting, your phone calls and notifications. So just make sure that your mic is muted. Thank you. Today's session is focusing on the digital era or the digital age. Since information is considered to be an economic resource now and the key factor in the concept of evolution, it is essential tool for success or failure at the individual, organization or society, national, international level. Therefore, data or information security has become a very important issue and growing concept that literally affects all sectors without the slightest exception. In simpler words, the importance of data security nowadays is as crucial as the amount, content, and sometimes confidentiality of the information put out there. To have the inside knowledge of the concept, we have with us Mr. Sunny Waghela. He is Director and CEO of Tech Defense Lab. He's a certified ethical hacker and cybersecurity expert. Mr. Waghela has more than 9 years of experience in IT and information security and has primarily been involved in analyzing risk to business arising from people, process, technology, failures, and developing strategies for secure information architecture design. Mr. Waghela has been leading training vertical of tech defense for more than 7 years now. He has conducted more than 650 workshops and trained more than 80,000 participants. Am I right? Is that 80,000? Wow. More than 80,000 participants from various universities and corporate institutions. So without much delay, I would hand over the meeting to Mr. Sunny Waghela. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. So I think we have certain participants who are my ex-students as well. And so 80,000 is a big number, and we have achieved it because we had a tie-up with IIT Bombay, and we conduct under the banner of IIT Bombay. So I started my journey with the investigating agencies. So I was like a techie guy. I started at a very early age. It's been almost, you can say that 13 years as an individual, I'm into this particular field. And professionally, I have more than 9 years of experience. I started first as a consultant to investigating agencies, played a very instrumental role in solving certain good cases like 2611, 268. So that's how my journey started. So I think, let me just share my screen right now. I hope you can see my screen. If anybody could just tell me yes.
ये आपने हैक तो नहीं कर लिया हम लोग का कंप्यूटर?
No, but I have some surprising demonstrations today, so I'm sure people will be a little surprised and people will be shocked as well. Prior to that, I have taken some concerns as well, or I'll be taking concerns, during the sessions as well. So, so when it comes to cybersecurity, I always say that there are no more tomorrows. If you think that tomorrow I'll secure or my organization does not need a cybersecurity because we are a small organization, then we need to understand that these are the people which are always been a great target of every hacker. People who are not much aware about cybersecurity, people who are not much aware about technology and but still using the technology as always a prime target for any of the hackers. And when it comes to this challenging situations because of this COVID-19, we have seen a greatest spike in the cyber attacks. More than 30% of the crimes are increase in the number of crimes, in this particular last 2 to 3 months of the time. So investigating agencies or the CERT of India, they have been reported the number of attacks or the number of crimes, by any institutions and organizations, and we have seen there's a great increase because of this particular situation where everybody is working from home. People does not have much of the visibility on their IT infrastructure, while working from home. And most of the exploits or vulnerabilities are exploited during this particular time. So it is very much important for all of us to understand about what to do, what not to do when we are on the internet, and how do we, make ourselves secure. So the agenda for today's session is I'll be discussing more about, the different hacks or the different data leaks which has taken place in past couple of years, and what are the reasons or the root cause, behind all those particular attacks, or even while, they've been spending a lot into the cybersecurity, but still they got attacked. So why they got attacked? So that's all I'll be discussing. And second, I'll also discuss cybersecurity as a hacker's perspective with a good demonstrations as well. So that would definitely, make you interested into this particular sessions as well. Any point of time, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the chat box or raise your hand so that the host or maybe the other the stakeholders can unmute you, and you can always feel free to ask that question. So coming back to the first hack that has completely shaken the world, that was the Yahoo hack. So Yahoo did not hack just one time in last you can say that 4 years, but Yahoo got hacked 4 times in last 4 years. The first time when Yahoo got attacked, the hacker was trying to report a problem to a Yahoo security team. He shoot out an email to the CEO that mail has been just escalated to their IT team and a security team. The hacker was not taken very seriously by these people because he was a 16-year-old Russian guy who wanted to report a problem to Yahoo, but unfortunately he has not been given the proper response, and instead what they have offered him is just $100 bounty. The person was having an access to almost 500 billion username and the password, and to give that 500 million username and the password, and the most important, what is the problem behind this particular breach, this is what he wanted to report, and he did not like this $100 bounty which is getting in the return. The guy hacked into the website, downloaded all the data, and he uploaded all this data on the dark web and deep web. These are the new or other side of the internet, or the underground side of the internet, and he started selling this username and the passwords in $500, for all this username and the password. So you can just pay $500 and get this 500 million username and the password. You would be surprised to know this. In just 1 day, 2 days, he has made almost $60,000 US, and finally made all this particular username and the password public on the internet for anybody to download and anybody to use it. Second time he went to Yahoo, he was not taken so seriously. He breached almost 1 billion username and the password. And third time, the guy has earned a lot of money. He has started selling this each and every username and the password of Yahoo, that was close to 3 billion username and the passwords, free on the internet as well. So the problem here is the hacker was not taken so seriously when the hacker was trying to report a problem, and that's what the problem with the Yahoo. But the problem was not just with the vulnerability, or problem was not just with one of the loophole that was existing in the Yahoo, but because of this one problem, Yahoo, has faced a major problem when it comes to their revenues or when it comes to their valuations. Because 4 years back, the valuation of Yahoo was close to 446 billion US dollar. They have denied that particular deal, and after this 4 consecutive hacks, the valuation of the Yahoo has gone down to only 40 billion. You'll be surprised to know this. Yahoo got sold out to Verizon in just 4.6 billion after the last hack happened. So the motto of this story is, or this particular case study is, that cybersecurity is no more an IT problem. It has become a business problem for every organization. You'll be surprised to know this. The recent hack of Unacademy was close to 900 billion valuations. It got attacked, and the valuation has now come down to you can say that half, or maybe even lesser than that. So we need to ensure that no matter, we have been spending a lot into our operations, marketing, into our IT, but cybersecurity should be given one priority when we are having any kind of a digital assets or any business critical assets which always relates to our IT. Equifax got hacked. Even the hacker was reporting a problem for 6 months continuously, but nobody was giving him a reply. Just because of that no reply, hacker has hacked the website and made almost millions of people, their social security numbers of the United States citizens, their credit score, their bank account details, and every detail was public on the internet. The only reason is the hacker was not taken seriously. The same happened with LinkedIn. Even the LinkedIn got hacked just 1.5 years back, and 167 million accounts are still available for sale on the internet. And now many people are even, who are the buyers or who have already bought this particular account are selling it for free on the internet as well and on the underground forums. Musk is a global IT company. They have got, an alert from a hacker saying that, you might be, or your data might be encrypted, you pay me some few dollars. I want to report some problem to you. They have not taken that seriously, and hacker has encrypted each and every single asset, which are the business critical assets in the organizations. And they've reported millions and millions of dollars of loss, 2 years back. When it comes to the data breaches, we are always on the top. So World Economic Forum reported that in 1819, and now the 1920 report has just come, that India is on the top of this particular list where the largest number of data breaches are only happening to the Indian websites and Indian applications, just because we are just taking this problem as an IT problem and not a business problem anymore. Coming back to banking or financial sectors, SBI, HDFC, ICICI, Yes Bank, Axis Bank, they also got hacked in past 2 years, and 3.2 million debit cards were also compromised in this particular data leak. One of the Pakistani hacker was trying to report a problem, but Pakistani hacker cannot secure Indian website. That's what the mentality we always have. Although hacker was, helping them, but they have not taken the help. And finally, the hacker has actually given a gift in the return. That was, publishing his own page on a bank website and claiming that I have everybody's username and passwords. And I have each and everything, or a key, or maybe a database key of this particular bank, and I can do anything with this particular bank also. One of the biggest bank hack that has actually, which was an eye-opener for each and every banks in this particular world, was a Bangladesh bank hack. The very interesting way the hacker has hacked into this particular bank, with the help of one of the insider in the bank, the hacker has sent his one person as a vendor of this particular bank. So he was pretending as the registered vendor of this bank. He entered into the SWIFT unit, where the SWIFT is always used for international transactions. And he has actually asked this particular SWIFT people that I have been sent by this particular vendor, and I've been asked to change this $10 router, which is situated, in that particular SWIFT unit. So this particular SWIFT unit was handled by 6 to 7 people, and there was a wireless router which was connected. The guy has changed that particular router, and the hacker has actually sent that router using insider help and using that fake vendor, or you can say that the fake support guy of a vendor. He installed that particular router successfully in the bank. So now the hacker can have an internal access of the bank's network using that particular own wireless router. The hacker got a connection to that router. Hacker installed a malware on that particular people's computer who are a part of the SWIFT system or the SWIFT unit in the bank or a department in the bank. And after installing the malware, he got a SWIFT password of this particular bank. Generally, when any financial crimes happens, the hacker always select Saturday, Sunday as a day to attack on this particular banking and financial institutions. And you always select those days where it could be Friday is a public holiday or Monday is a public holiday. So there are 3 days holiday in the bank. So fortunately for hacker, the time has come that there are 3 days holiday in the bank. The hacker hacked into that router. Hacker has transferred almost $80 million from that bank to Hong Kong, you can say that account. After transferring the Hong Kong, money to the Hong Kong account, the best thing is, like the Bangladesh bank itself got hacked, so they've contacted a Hong Kong bank. But in just a matter of seconds or the matter of, you can say that minutes, the hacker has converted all the money into the Bitcoins. And you'll be surprised to know that the Bangladesh was not able to recover and a single penny out of this particular banking to Hong Kong, because all the money has been converted into the Bitcoin, which is a cryptocurrency or a digital currency. And the money has been sent to a cold storage, or you can say that the fixed deposit of this particular Bitcoin, you can say that wallet. One of the great hack I always talk about in my sessions, that was a Cosmos Bank hack. It is not that famous bank, but it's a cooperative bank which has a good name in this particular cooperative sector. But this particular bank has shown this particular Indian bank industries that bank can be hacked, in a very in a matter of seconds or in a matter of minutes, even using a simple problem which is available in the bank switch or an ATM switch which is available with each and every bank. So generally hota kya hai that when you go to your ATM or any other ATM, right, and you put that card, let's say you have IndusInd ka debit card, and you're putting that particular card in the SBI ATM. Ultimately, that SBI is connecting, to the SBI, IndusInd ka switch, and that switch is authorizing your transactions after seeing that whether the money is available in your particular IndusInd bank account or not. But here the hacker has done a very interesting thing. He has found a problem in that particular switch of a bank, which is not used in just, you can say that, a Cosmos bank, but which is used in almost all the banks, because there's only one vendor which is supplying switches to all the banks across, you can say that, India and globe. He hacked into this particular Cosmos switch. He has made the switch as a proxy switch and started monitoring all the transactions using one of the switch which he has kept, that was a hacker switch in Canada. After putting this switch, what he has done is he started monitoring all the transactions. He has monitored close to 16,000 transactions. But what is the use of monitoring all these transactions? After monitoring these transactions, ultimately he has to use all this debit card information. But as you know that in India, even if you have somebody's debit card number and a PIN number, but you need always an OTP, right, while making any transactions, using the debit card or using the credit card. The other way around is he has to print this information on a physical magnetic card. Then only, you can just go to any ATM and using a PIN number, you can withdraw the money. But how can he print the 16,000 debit cards? So a very simple thing I can actually show you right now. You go to Alibaba, that China is something, which is selling everything, which is even banned in India also. And type in this particular thing that, this credit card writer, and what you will get is the credit card writer or a debit card writer on this particular website, for just 3,500 rupees or maybe 4,000 rupees. Now, after getting this particular writer, the guy has written 16,000 debit cards. And after getting this physical copies of the 16,000 debit cards, obviously he's not only the one person going to use this. So he created a website and he started selling all these cards online on the internet. So let's say if I buy a card from that hacker's website in maybe $5, in just 300 rupees, the card is going to be shipped to my place. But when he's shipping the card to somebody's place, he's putting a note on that card that you need to acknowledge that you have received this particular courier, and make sure, go to this website, enter your email ID. We will notify you, on your website, on your email ID and on your number when these cards are going to be active. Now 13th August, 14th August and 15th August, 3 days are the bank holidays. The guy has made all the cards active, and he has shot out an email and SMS to everybody saying that now go to any ATM across the globe and start withdrawing the money. You would be surprised to know this. Not just one country's ATM was used, but this guy was successfully able to sold all these cards to more than 35 countries across the globe. And in 3 hours of the time, almost 28 countries' ATMs have been used, and more than 94 crore rupees has been siphoned off from this particular bank. Immediately, bank has contacted a vendor, and fortunately, the vendor has come up with this particular, you can say that, a patch of this problem. Otherwise, to India के सारी बैंकों में within next 2 days or 3 days ये हो जाता. India ने तो patch कर लिया था, but the same vendor has used this particular switch in all the banks in Pakistan, and even all the Pakistani bank got hacked. I don't say that one Pakistani bank got hacked, but all the Pakistani bank got hacked, and more than 6.5 million rupees has been siphoned off from this particular Pakistani bank on the second day as well. So this is what can happen, even a small problem that lies in your system and a small problem that lies in your IT asset. Hacking is not just limited to IT systems anymore. There are cases where the power plant got hacked. There are cases where the manufacturing plant got hacked. And the same incident happened in Germany that hacker has actually got a control of the terminal, which is the main terminal in the steel plant. He has manipulated the parameter in such a way that both the furnaces which are connected to the terminal and was managed by this terminal, they completely blasted just because of this one thing. The parameter of the temperature has been changed from that control systems. So hackers are now not focusing more on the IT systems, but they are going beyond the IT system, which is known as operational technology as well. That is all the manufacturing system and the automation systems across the globe, which are used by a lot of industries across the globe. Coming back to shipping industry, recently the very great incident that happened, or unfortunate incident with that shipping industry happened, that the ship was supposed to go to Africa, but it has changed the directions and it was going somewhere in the middle in the sea where they can't track that particular sea. When the investigation carried out, by that Indian company, that where the ship is actually going, they actually found that the vessel directions has been changed after hacking into the core systems of this particular ship as well, or a vessel as well. And you'll be surprised to know that just because of this particular cyber attack, the hacker could able to control the complete vessel, which is actually, like flowing in that particular sea and going from one country to another country also. And then the advisory came out that not just that one particular vessel was vulnerable, but there are 50,000 ships which are vulnerable to this particular cyber attacks. So what exactly is the problem? Why we always see the bad news by the bad hackers, always in the newspaper saying that this company got attacked, the other company got attacked. So to answer this question, I always show this people this particular small figure where you see a maze which is there, and a lady is actually seeing that particular maze. I visited one of the data center of one of the big bank in India, or you can say that one of the like top 5 banks in India. And when I asked the chief information security officer and the IT security lead that, hey, I wanted to see your infrastructure, or I wanted to know from your side how you are securing this bank. The answer came was not just a one answer or one sentence, They took me to the visit of the whole data center and what all security technologies that they have been using. You would be surprised to know this, that I have been taken to a place where there are 50 odd people who are sitting and monitoring the whole bank. I have been taken to a place where there are not just one box, but there are 50 odd boxes which are light there. And I asked what all these boxes have been doing. Hey, we procured this box from USA, we procured the second box from China, we procured the third box from Israel. This all boxes, are our firewall, our another systems, another this security, analytics security, other security. So I always call all these boxes as the idiot boxes inside the bank which they have kept. What they're trying to do in their bank, they're trying to create a complex architecture in the bank, and they always think that हमने एक maze create कर दिया. If any hacker would enter from here, he'll never be able to solve this particular maze. But you need to understand, hacker कभी जमीन का रास्ता नहीं लेता है and never take that particular land route, but hacker always takes the aerial route while he see any of the organizations as a target. Aerial route का मतलब क्या होता है? To give you an example, no matter India and Pakistan keeps thousands of people, lakhs of people on a border, but still you can do airstrikes. We have seen that example, we have witness of that particular example. The same happens on the internet also. No matter you have kept 10 boxes, 50 boxes, 100 boxes in the bank or your organizations, but at the end of the day, your applications are still open. Your net banking, your mobile banking, your core banking, everything is open on the internet, and hackers' target is always those applications. You're always allowing your employee to use their email IDs in their phones or in any of the systems they can log in nowadays. So ultimately, the hacker's target is always those people. Hackers' target is always those open applications and publicly available, these applications, and that's what the trend which is changing in the cybersecurity. So currently, let's take an example. If I'm a hacker and if I wanted to attack your organization, my job is not to attack your systems or your network or your applications, but I would always target your employees who are working in your organizations. Now, your question is that how easy it is to actually attack anybody. So we'll see a live demonstrations on that. But the first thing is that I would, fingerprint your organization, that how many people are actually working in your organizations. To do that, it's so easy. You can just go to LinkedIn and you can find out, total number of employees, and you can just, fingerprint on the employee list. The second is the hacker go to the second particular thing, which is known as a dark web and deep web. So just to give you the example, like Zomato got hacked and almost 70 lakh people's username and the passwords are available on the internet. LinkedIn got hacked, 167 million username and passwords are available on the internet. So the first thing being a hacker I would do is I would go to a very simple website, and that is actually known as a pestbin. Pestbin is like a dustbin on the internet. So generally hackers क्या करते हैं कि when they earn a lot of money, out of selling this data or to somebody, and जब उनको लगता है कि पैसे बहुत मिल गए, they go to this pestbin and they dump the data on this particular pestbin. Now, when you dump that data on the pestbin, you can easily, identify this data on the pestbin also. So मैं बहुत ही simple चीज कर रहा हूँ. Why I'm actually going to Google and do this, so that even a layman can understand that, किस तरह से ये मिलता है. So मैंने यहाँ पे Google में लिखा pestbin LinkedIn dump, and what I'm actually getting right now is a link of this particular pestbin. It is asking me to download the whole database of 159 million accounts, but I should verify whether it is the right data or wrong data. So they are giving you sample files also. What they are giving you is, these are the sample username and that password. You can also go today, you can also check the same, and I'm promising you almost 60 to 70% of the username and the passwords are available over here. So you are registered on LinkedIn, you are registered on Zomato, you are registered on Unacademy, you are registered on Swiggy, you are registered on Farmiz, you are registered on so many applications. But the problem with, every one of us, that we don't keep the different passwords. We always keep the same password. So when we keep the same password, generally what happens is that even if I fingerprint your organizations, find out this many employees are working in your organizations, and these are the C-level executives of your organization, my first target would be the C-level executive or the CEO of the organization. And to check that whether the CEO is breached or not, it's so easy. I can get your email ID after adding you on LinkedIn. You accepted my request, and I can see that your personal email ID is available on Facebook also, Twitter also, and people.com is a website which will give me all that email IDs also. My second thing is I go to a website which is known as haveibeenpawned.com. So here there are two objectives of this Have I Been Pawned. One, as an attacker, I can check whether anybody is compromised or not. And second, as a user, you can also check today whether you are already compromised or not, or whether your password is already available on the internet or not. So I need to enter somebody's email ID over here. So I think I am keeping the session open to people. If you could just send me your email ID in the chat window, I can actually check whether they are attacked or not, or whether we should use Ankita's email ID. Ankita, are you there?
I'm here.
Yeah. Ankita, can you give me your email ID?
I'm just writing.
Yeah. Or you can just maybe आप बोल सकते हो so that I can write it. Is it right? Divedi.ankita?
20numeric@gmail.com.
Okay. So that's the email ID of Ankita. And what we are checking right now, whether Ankita is breached or not, and what you can see right now on the screen, Ankita, you're already compromised. The reason is because you are registered on Canva as one of the Australian website. You are registered on Dailymotion. You are registered on the other third website, which is Elanic, which got breached. That was the last breach that happened in January 2020. So if you are registered on any of this website, just to tell you that, all these websites, username and the passwords are available on dark web, deep web. They're also available on this particular pestbin, and some hacker can easily download this particular database, can even hack your particular username and password also. So my suggestion is, if you have not changed your password since January 2020, then the first thing what you can do today is to change your password. When I say change your password, not just this password of the Gmail, not just a password of a Gmail, but you would be the better person to know that on how many websites you have kept the same password. So what you have to do is you have to change each and every password on that particular website. Because supposedly अगर मुझे target करना होगा, the first thing I would do is I would go to this website or I would go to Pestwin and I would dump that data and I would try to find out Ankita's password. After getting Ankita's password, I can monitor Ankita's password. And the next thing what I do is I send a malware or I send a Trojan to the employees of the organizations in the name of Ankita or using Ankita's email ID itself. Your question must be, is it so easy to send a malware? So let me just show you the next demonstration you can see right now. I'm using one of the very famous Trojan since last almost 8 to 9 years. I've been using it and it's working very perfectly. The Trojan or a malware is an application wherein a hacker sends you a file. You accept that file and hacker takes the control of your whole system in just 2 to 3 seconds as well. So you can bind this file with any other file. So let's say Ankita is dealing with some assignments, and he needs to share some audit reports with the CA or finance guy. I can bind it with all those reports. I can get these reports or old reports from Ankita's email ID itself, and I can attach this particular file with this particular malware file as well. I can select any of the icon and I can just create this particular server file that is a malware file. So what I'm doing right now is I'm creating a malware file which is bind with any of the document of Ankita. I can even do that. You can even change this name to any other name. So this is actually a proven thing. You change this name to don't click here, and then I can use Ankita's email ID to send an email to all the employees. Imagine all the employees are getting an email where the attachment is don't click here. Trust me, this is the first attachment they would be downloading if I keep 4 attachments in the same email. And what these people are actually going to do, after downloading this attachment, these people are going to click on this particular file. And once they are going to click on this file, right, they will be able to access, or the hacker will be able to access that particular employee's computer. But who is a hacker? The hacker is sitting somewhere in the other country, but currently in this, using Ankita as a hacker or pretending Ankita as a hacker, they hacked into anybody's computer as well. I can just press this IP address, I can press OK button, and I can take a control of the whole system. I can check their computer, I can check all the websites like last 25 visited website. I can go to this file manager because this is the most important option that every hacker would love to use. I can check the C drives, I can check the D drives, I can download, upload any of this data from Ankita's computer also. I can go to screenshot, take the screenshot also, and the most lovable option that every hacker would love to use is always known as a keylogger. So keylogger is like, you are using facebook.com. So that employee will type facebook.com on his computer. After he types username, and after that username he types his password. You can simply go to this particular keylogger and just type read keylog, and the moment you type read keylog, you'll be able to see what the person has actually typed on his own computer. That is a Facebook username and PWD. People have a very bad habit of storing their ID and passwords in the browser. When you are remembering all this ID and passwords in your browser, please remember one thing, that it is a browser that remembers your ID password and not a computer that remembers your ID passwords. And browser always remembers this ID and passwords in a clear text format. So person can go to passwords and can easily take away this particular passwords which are stored in your browser as well. So I would recommend that what you need to do is kindly do not save your ID and passwords of at least the bank, at least the email ID which is connected with all the accounts. I would suggest not to use this particular remember options for all this username and all this particular passwords. So this is a very easiest way the person can attack a computer by using that C-level executive or a CEO or CIO, right? Let me just share the screen. I got some problem with my screen sharing right now. So using a very simplest way, the person can attack your computer and get a control of your computers as well. So this is exactly the trends are changing. Now, just because of this particular, session, I have asked, Ankita and a team, I guess, Vikas, to give me some domain names. So Ankita has actually given me, the domain names of, and Ankita I shared some, you can say that email IDs also. One of the email ID was Shukla Vikas at hotmail.com. Vikas, you can just confirm that's your email ID? Correct. Now, Vikas, before we show your password, the very good thing I can do is I can go to Have I Been Conned and let me check whether you are compromised or not. Because you're already compromised, and what you can see on the screen, collection गाड़ी में आप registered थे Ixigo Yatra, right? And all this website got attacked and your password is available. Now you just have to say yes if that's your password, because I was having a very less time, but my person is able to find the password. And he has found this password, which is Uptech. Is your password Uptech, or was your password Uptech at any point of time? Because in the dump I've got this password which is Uptech. So aap thoda yaad kariye, Uptech was your password before?
This was like 15 years back.
Not possible. 15 years back, तो मेरे पास भी dump नहीं है. It could be you might have kept this particular password, because see your data, I can say that we have a database of 200 GBs of the document DPEP dump. So it could be possible in 2013 or maybe 15 you kept this particular password as Uptech. Anyways, see, due to the lesser time we have done this particular dump. So we got this particular password.
ये पासवर्ड मेरा शादी के पहले का था, तो 17 साल तो उसी को हो गए.
अच्छा नहीं, वो तो आपको याद रहता है, ये शादी का पूछती था. Everybody remembers. Anyways, and I think I have asked the other domain as well. So I think whoever is the owner of this company, I'm not sure who is the owner of this firm. Do you have anybody whose name is Ankit working in WOW? Do we have any stakeholders from WOW?
Yeah, there was a person.
There was a person. Okay. So your person has kept a very interesting password, right? And that interesting password is Namakala, right? So only one person of your organization got breached. So we have actually taken your domain into the consideration, and we have checked almost all the username and the password which are related to your domain. And this Ankit's password is breached, Namakala. So if Ankit has kept the same passwords, in his Gmail, or same passwords in his all the other, like email IDs, then they need to change that particular password. But I just got a message from my person that his search is still on. So I think because he aapka shadi ke baad ka password, we hopefully will be able to get it, end of this particular webinar also. Right. So the search is already on. So what I'm trying to say is that people are not changing the password so frequently. And my suggestion is at least once in a month you should always change your password. I understand that remembering different passwords is always a difficulty for everybody, but that is always a good password practice, that you can always keep. Now there is other way also, that is known as a social engineering. So 3 years back we have taken around 40 to 50 interns from different universities, and the question is, all these interns were like the first year guys and the second year engineering guys. So my office people have questioned me that why did you ask us to take this 40 interns, and what they're going to do for 45 days. So when these interns came, I said, you'll be learning about cybersecurity, but at the same point of time, I'll give you one work. Person who will be, fulfilling this work, I have some bounty for, like the first winner and the second runner-up and the third runner-up as well. I defined this bounty for this particular people, which is close to 10,000 rupees. But what was the work all about that they need to do, or they need to execute in 45 days, provided they don't have any knowledge on the cybersecurity and the hacking? So मैंने उनको simple बोला था कि I'll give you the list of this 100 companies. This 100 companies are those companies, they have the turnover close to 1,000 crore rupees, or maybe 500 to 1,000 crore rupees, and they have close to 500, 600, 700 employees. So I'm sure they have the CEO, CIO, CEO, and a lot of people at C-level executives. So aapko kya karna hai, that you have been given, let's say, 4 companies, another 4 companies, and agar aapko nahi milta hai, so you can always choose any of those companies out of this particular list also. You are allowed to create fake accounts provided you need to report that account to our HR first कि हमने इतने fake account create किए. And we are trying to convince all the C-level executives on Facebook, LinkedIn, and we will establish a virtual relationship with them. Yes, I don't deny to say that. मैंने उनको बोला था कि उनको relationship करनी है उनके साथ, उनको जो करना है करो, आपको जितना chatting करना है करो, right? आपको उनको call भी करना है करो, right? So people have created females accounts, males accounts, fake accounts, lot of fake accounts. And on an average, मान लो एक बंदे ने अगर 4 account create किए होंगे, they're close to, you know, like a good number of accounts which are created, 160 to 200 accounts which were created. The students were so fantastic, you know, they did an amazing task, you know. They started stalking some C-level executives like anything, and not just one executive, so many people at a one go. उनको सबको ऐड किया, पहले 400-500 फ्रेंड बनाए so that the account does not look like a fake account of the girl, and उनके साथ chatting करना start किया. If one CEO is saying, oh, I'm actually, you know, partying in the Leopold Cafe in the Mumbai, तो वो लड़की भी वहाँ check-in डालेगी कि oh, I'm also there, you know, and you'll be surprised to know that the C-level executive is finding that girl inside that you know, bar as well. But what is the result at the end of 45 days? At the end of 45 days, I was able to, you know, get that comfort zone, or they were able to get that comfort zone with around 60 C-level executives of all these 100 companies. And the comfort zone was so much that अगर मैं उनको कुछ भी भेज दूंगा वो fake account से, on a very second moment, these people will download that particular thing from me. And what we have done at the end of 45 days, we have sent them one advisory using all these fake accounts, and we asked them that boss, अगर ऐसा कोई भी लड़की या कोई भी लड़का ऐसा कोई भी chat करने आता है या तो unknown लोग हैं, by just looking at the picture or by just you know the way they were conversing or they were listening to your problems or listening to your worries also, do not try to get trapped into this particular social engineering that has been done to you, and you are a victim of that. We can do this with your computer, but we haven't done that. You know, this is the number of the person, this is the number of the, you know, company. You can always come back to us if you have any more queries onto it. So this is exactly what the exercise that has been, you know, carried out, and this was the result. So the answer is people are being targeted because human is always the weakest link in the organizations, and the dark web data, deep web data is increasing day by day, so people are always being targeted. The second is the knowledge and a skill set which is required to become hacker is decreasing. As I said, you know, it's not me who can download a dark web and deep web data. I can give you a link. You can also download those 400 GB of data, give it to your son, daughter. They would also be searching anybody's username and the password within the matter of seconds as well. So that means the hacking is becoming easier day by day. The number of hackers are also increasing, and that's the reason the importance of cybersecurity and the ethical hacking is also increasing day by day. So coming back to the other security misconception, people always think that hackers are the people who create problems, but please understand that the problems are created by the system administrator, your website providers. Hackers are the people, they can just exploit, you know, that particular problem, and they can even exploit this particular the problems as well. If you think that I have an antivirus and which would completely secure me, then you're wrong. I have a firewall, and firewall is going to protect my computer and protect my company. That is also just one of the misconceptions. IDS is going to protect my web server in the database. That is also not the right way to say that. And the security certificate, that means if I have an HTTPS on my website, I'm completely secure. That is also one of the security misconceptions. So as I said, so there are two types of hacking. One is ethical hacking, second is unethical hacking. And now just to show you a very simple example, how easy it is to hack somebody's website. Any layman can also understand, you know, the way I'm going to hack that particular website. So very simple way, look at this. I'm typing in the Google PK in URL. PK is Pakistan, in URL is a URL, that is a link. And then I'm actually typing login.esp because most of the website, they have a login page. The name of that particular login is always login. Let's say I'm going to one of this Pakistani website, and this website is already open right now. I can go to this advanced options. I can proceed to this particular website. The moment I go to this stock trading website, I have been asked that, either I can log in as a client, executive, or administrator. So to log in, I need to select this particular administrator. But again, the thing is, what is the username and the password? I've seen 90% of the people, they are using this administrator ka username as admin, or you can say that administrator. So if you have this admin and administrator as a username of your own website, your organization's website, your organization's ERP, your organization's CRM, my first suggestion to you is go to your IT guy, go to your vendor, and tell them that please change this admin username to some other username. Because this is the most guessable username which is available on the internet. And just see what I'm actually doing right now. मैं यहाँ पे एक बहुत interesting password लिख रहा हूँ. That is 0 or 0 equal to 0. We use a simple mathematics over here. The result of 0 or 0 is equal to 0. 0 is equal to is also 0. And the final result is 0. But when it comes to the mathematics, the conditions say it is true. Because when we were small, we always used to learn the 0 or 0, 1 or 1. So the meaning of 0 or 0 is equal to 0, 1 or 1 equal to 1, but the condition is always true. So just because of this true condition, my password is not going to act like a password, but my password is going to act like a command to the database, and I will get an access to this particular website. This is a very simple problem that I'm exploiting on this website, and this is a very simple problem which is ignored by 60 to 70% developers in this world, that no matter you accept any password as a password, but tell your IT guy never accept single quote in the password field. If you accept single quote in the password field, then what will happen is the password will act as a command and anybody can hack into this particular website also. I think I've given the space also, so let me again copy this password. I'm copying this password. I'm going to this website, and what you can see right now, I'm pressing the sign in button, and the moment I'm pressing a sign in button, you can see I'm logging into this particular website. I can do anything in this website. I can delete the data, upload the data, and I can do anything with this particular website. And as I said, this is the normal mentality of every developer. Because generally क्या होता है that people always say that you always need to have a strong password, you always need to have a special character, but these are the special characters. These are the special characters. But the single quote is never been a special character. If you allow single quote as a special character and allow them in the password, trust me, you will get hacked within no time. And this is exactly what most of the developers that fail while creating a website, while creating this application, or while creating your internal or external applications as well. So this is exactly a very simplest way I have shown how website can be hacked, right? So today you can also go and you can check that. The other is nowadays the search engines have come. So I don't need to go to Google and search anything. Nowadays there are specialized search engines which are made by hackers and made for hackers have come into the existence. So that search engine does not only tell me that what all ERP systems, what all CRM systems that you are using, but the search engine like Shodan would also tell me that आपका server का IP address क्या है, आपका network का IP address क्या है, आपकी firewall कौन सी है. And the very interesting part is that if you have a CCTV in your organization also, it would actually fetch me that CCTV ka URL directly from this particular search engine also. So I can just go and I can just type, a very simple thing. I'm typing Flipkart. The moment I'm actually typing Flipkart, what you can actually see right now on the screen, I'm getting there are 13 servers or 13 IPs are based out of India. 5 are in Germany, 1 are in this. They will also show me some technical details कि कहाँ पे ये मेरी सारी चीजें hosted है, कौन सी operating system use हुई है, and I can able to check each and every URL and then try to attack onto this thing. So you can see that in a matter of seconds, I could able to figure out what IPs you are using, which internet service provider that you are using, which firewall you have, which servers you have, where you have hosted the server. See, it is not necessary that you need to have servers in your premise, but you have a server registered in your name on Amazon, on DigitalOcean, on GoDaddy, it would able to find out all these particular servers as well. So this is very easiest way you can even do that. And the other way around is an espionage, which is increasing day by day. So just by typing, a very simple thing, that is in URL index.shtml, person can nowadays get into your CCTV camera also. Most of the organizations, I cannot say most of the organizations, almost all the organizations are nowadays has a very reasonable security practices or physical security practices, which is a CCTV inside their organizations. Now, when you have installed the CCTV, you have just asked your vendor to come to your organization and install the CCTV. But have you ever asked that vendor that, or have you ever asked your IT team that, hey boss, ये DVR जो है, क्या उसका पासवर्ड हमने क्या रखा है? या तो ये DVR में जो default password admin आता है, admin password आता है, did we change that particular password? Although you have enabled the access of my factory or my manufacturing unit on my mobile phone, but is it only open for my IP or my particular username, or ये सबके लिए open है? So if you ask the 3 questions to them, trust me, you will get the answers. And nowadays I've seen couple of organizations where the CCTVs got attacked. They have the inbuilt microphone and people are doing espionage, recording all these activities which are happening inside their boardrooms, inside their meeting room, inside the C-level executives, and they try to exploit the details of the organizations, even using or getting into the CCTVs of this particular, the systems as well. Not just a CCTV, but just to give you another example of a mobile hacking. So, although I have been told to put this session on the internet, so I have certain limitations to show the website of mine and other vendors as well. Can I show that website, Ankita?
Yes.
Okay, for free in this world, the free comes at a cost. So that's what in the internet language I can say that when you download anything for free, it always comes at a cost, and the cost could be your data, and cost could be your private and the confidential information as well. Let me discuss some of the case studies which have recently happened in the January and the month of February. So the hacker has siphoned off around 130 crore rupees from Mumbai-based Italian firm. This is the case of a venture capital firm. There are 4 partners who are the partners for this venture capital firm, and they were investing into the startup. So the process is so simple, and I'm sure many of you must be knowing that you send a pitch deck, you have that you have a conversation with that owner, you see the business model. If you like that, you do a due diligence in the organizations, and then the negotiations on the equity, term sheet, on the money to be invested, and then end of the day you sign a term sheet. The same happens in this organizations as well. That one of the partner who is very senior has been using his email ID, and his job is just to connect the good prospect to their back office, and the back office takes a complete control of that particular lead from starting till end. The only job is of that venture capital partner is to sign that term sheet and ask their back office to transfer the money to the account. Interesting fact is, using this particular dark web and deep web, the hacker was able to successfully find the password of this particular, the partner. He was monitoring that partner for almost 6 months. Why he was monitoring for 6 months? Because he was not interested in the very small deal that this venture capital partner was actually making. He wanted to wait till, you can say that the big deal happens. And one day, one very fine day, the term sheet was signed, and the first part of a payment which is to be released to that startup was 130 crore rupees. Person did not know he was already being monitored, and finally when that CEO of the startup has sent the account details and their account team has sent the details to the back office, it was to be verified, or it was to be approved by this particular partner that yes, we are transferring this money. But the original email was deleted from their back office email ID as well, and from this particular venture capital person's or partner's email ID as well. Immediately on the second moment, the hacker created a fake email ID of that startup CEO and send an email saying that, hey, don't consider that particular, the account detail. I'll send you the another details of this account. Interestingly, I can say that nobody has verified it over a WhatsApp or over a call that, oh, like your old email was deleted, and then even they did not ask this question to their own selves that why this old email was deleted from our account, and the new email came in the matter of seconds. The partner has given the green signal saying that you can go ahead and you can transfer this sum of amount. And finally, the amount of 130 crore rupees as a first chunk of the whole investment has been transferred to that particular account. 4 दिन लगता है पैसे इंडिया से बाहर जाने में, right? But in 4 दिन के अंदर भी they did not verify with each other. But after 4 to 5 days, when these people need to publish it on the your story or a lot of other news media saying that we have invested this much of amount in this startup, the CEO said that, hey boss, I haven't received any money. And these people were saying that, देखो boss, ये आपका SWIFT copy आपने मांगा था पैसा in some other international account of yours. He said that I'm a startup based out of India. Why would I ask money over there? And that's how the 130 crore rupees has been siphoned off from this particular account. The same happens with the Mumbai businessman. 2 things happened. One, he has an American Express credit card. He has been asked to upgrade his card. To upgrade a card, he has been asked to install an app. The moment he has installed an app, the hacker has gotten access to his call logs, his SMS, his WhatsApp data, his contacts, and all this confidential information. Using that access, he got an access to his email ID also. He was monitoring his email ID, monitoring his phone also. He got his Aadhaar card copy, PAN card copy, and his voter ID card. The hacker has created a fake police complaint. He went to the Vodafone store and asked that service provider that, hey boss, my sir has given me this affidavit. My sir is traveling. His SIM card is not working, or it is working, it is not working. There is some problem with the SIM card. My CEO has asked me to, issue a new SIM card. You would be surprised that no fingerprint was taken. Again, I repeat, no fingerprint was taken. Only the affidavit, only this Aadhaar card, PAN card, and the other copies, with the company letterhead requesting this new SIM card, with the police complaint also, and this authorities have issued the card. Service provider has issued the card. Now your question must be, then the card must be active. No, the card was not active. In this case, when your old SIM card is not stolen, but it is not working, there is some problem with the SIM card, then in that case, you need to call the IVR. You need to go to that SIM card swapping option, which is available in the company IVR. You need to enter your last, 16 digit of the existing SIM card number, 16 digit of the new SIM card number. Then you need to verify your identity, and then only the SIM card will be activated. SIM card won't get activated immediately. It will take 3 to 4 hours of the time to get this activated. Hacker has got the SIM card, but now the next step is to activate the SIM card. Now, if he can call the IVRS system of this particular company, he has this existing SIM card number also. How he has got the existing SIM card number? Because this guy has installed an app on his phone, and which has given me the existing SIM card number, his IMEI number and the SIM card number as well. He could have done it, but agar wo karta, then the existing SIM card, which is already running in that particular businessman's account, will get an SMS. So to make sure that while he is verifying this new SIM card, he wants that the old SIM card should be switched off. To do that, he went to one website, registered around 20 international number in just $4. And after registering these 20 international numbers in $4, the guy started making random calls on his number. So at 10:30 in the night, the businessman was getting one call from Pakistan, second call from Germany, third call from Ireland, fourth call from UK, and he was so pissed off that he switched off his phone. And at 10:30, when he switched off his phone, this guy called the IVRS system of the service provider, verified that SIM card, and after verifying the SIM card, after 4 hours, he has got an access of the SIM card on the new cell phone or the new SIM card. And finally, he has actually transferred around 1.86 crore rupees from that particular current account of that company to another account also. So this is exactly a very simplest way the hacking can happen. So I have tried my best to show certain demonstrations, which could be eye-opener for you. So let us, conclude the session. So how to overcome the security issues. So please understand that security has never been an IT problem, but it has become the boardroom level problem. Please ask your IT team to perform security assessment or roped in an agency like us to perform a security assessment on your IT landscape on a regular basis. Once in a 6 months is always a good and the suggested option. Not just the security from a technical perspective, but IT security maturity assessment. This is a new word which is, or you can say that upcoming word which is coming in the market and very getting famous in the market, known as maturity assessment. So that hackers come to your organizations, they check every maturity of your people, process and technology and can give you a maturity score that this is exactly what your maturity score is and this is what you need to do in terms of IT security as a roadmap for next 6 months. And the most important part, is always a security training or an awareness training on a regular interval to our employees. Security, and you can say that hacking is always evolving. New kind of frauds, new kind of techniques are always coming. So every 2 months, 3 months, you should always make your employee aware about what to do, what not to do. Please understand that you are always a target of hackers. कभी आप ऐसा सोचोगे we have never been a target of hackers, तो कभी आप समझ नहीं पाओगे जब तक आपके साथ कोई hacking नहीं हो जाता, कुछ भी नहीं fraud. So please understand that we are always a target of hackers. I always suggest that keep your software up to date. Please avoid phishing scams. Don't click on any untrusted link. Always practice good password management. Be very careful when you click. Never leave your devices unattended, be it your laptop or a mobile phone. Make sure you shut down your own system and the staff should shut down the systems before leaving the office. Use your mobile device safely and back up all your computer and mobile data on a regular basis. I understand that different passwords or keeping different passwords is always very difficult for everybody, but it is always essential to have different passwords. This is the new kind of attack that has been observed in past 6 to 7 months, that people when they are traveling on airports, they find in the business lounge they find certain USB or hard disk which is there. So generally क्या होता है कि some people they go to the reception and say that, hey boss, I found a hard disk, please keep it with me. Or certain people, they don't go to the reception and they simply put this USB disk which they found on road or on a public places or on some hotels, and उनको लगता है कि this USB और ये pen drive जो है वो मेरे नसीब की होगी और मेरे को भगवान ने दी है. Now, if it has been found by anybody who is so young and anybody who is technically aware, तो वो क्या करेंगे? First, they will format this USB. But certain people, what they do is they'll not format this USB. They'll just insert this USB. They see some 2-3 files which are there. They'll just delete the file. There are certain softwares which are invisible and already installed on that USB, which known as a rubber ducky. The moment you insert this USB or a hard disk on your computer, it would automatically take your computer's internet connection, automatically replicate the malware onto your systems, and the moment you are connected to internet, you're always connected to a hacker systems also. So these are the different ways, even specific targets are chosen, or the masses are chosen in terms of attacking somebody's computer or attacking some people in certain geographies as well. Don't send credentials over email or don't store them into the unsecured locations, and don't give remote access to anybody until and unless it is so necessary for everybody. So just the small introduction of us. So we are into consulting, we are into training, we are into SOC service also. We have been providing 24/7 monitoring service to more than 120 financial institutions across India. In total, we have close to 250 clients. We are serving certain good enterprises also and providing them with the cybersecurity services, trainings, and the security operations center, that's a monitoring service. So that's all I think, about the session about me and about the cybersecurity I wanted to discuss about. I kept this session a very non-technical so that everybody can understand and make a use of that and on a daily basis and keep them secure also. thank you once again for Ankita and a team for reaching out to me. I think keep this session open to other people so that they can ask the questions.
Wow, that was such an enlightening session that we had, and thank you so much, Mr. Waghela, for opening our eyes. We never imagined that we are so vulnerable to internet hackers. There's one question which I wanted to know. You probably skipped that. You showed us. What is the difference between ethical hacking and actually hacking? It's like saying that something is legally murdering something and illegally murdering something. Murder is still a murder. I mean, why use the word hacking if it is ethical?
Okay. So when it comes to ethical hacking, it's the very simple way the hacking is done with the ethics. So many of the companies and organizations, they give a permissions to the hackers nowadays to perform the assessment on their infrastructure and perform the penetration testing on their infrastructure. So when you have that consent or when you have that permission and you do the hacking, or maybe you do something on the other side of the law, it's always an ethical. Even there is a section in our IT Act also which says that ethical penetration is legal, and anything which is collected out of that ethical penetration or the hacking is always or can be presented in the court of law as well. In fact, in December 2019, the government has passed the ordinance and gave the authority to around 10 to 12 agencies across India to even rope in the third party, to solve certain cases which are in the interest of the national security. So ethical hacking is in a simple term. So is hacking done with the consent and with the authorized permissions. That's all ethical hacking. Ethical is you don't have permission and you do anything wrong with the organization.
Okay. All right. So we have a question from our president that he says that given that such large organizations have got hacked, what should small business and SMEs keep in mind to secure themselves online?
My only suggestion is no matter whether large or a small, but I'm sure that you must be having your data, at least on cloud or on your on-prem servers or on your, on our systems. My suggestion is first we should always have not an antivirus, but a new kind of a software which are now there in the market, and that is a buzzword in the security known as endpoint security. So endpoint security solutions are the solution that resides in your computer, can give you a firewall also, can act as an antivirus also, can also act as controlling access of your systems from a cloud to your CEO or an IT team. And the best part of this endpoint security solutions can also provide you with the safe browsing and a DLP, which is a data leakage protections also. So endpoint security solutions are must for an organizations to have reasonable security practices to be followed, and that doesn't cost much. It could be 900 or $1,000 for 3 years per systems. So should always have, and once in a year they should always rope some third party to assess their servers for any new vulnerabilities or any new threats which are always there. So when you do that, you always would be knowing different patches which are not made on the server, and you can always patch that problem and you can always be secure. And the other thing is, most of these small organizations or even the big organizations, they use Google Apps and Office 365. So I would suggest always to have the business versions or the pro versions of this Google Apps and Office 365. Never use your personal emails or at least your company, you can say that communications, or Gmail or Yahoo, right? So always have those Office 365 business and the pro versions, because that comes with the monitoring facilities, and you can create a custom policies to make sure that you are secure. So I think if you do these two things, three things, you're always secure. Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much. Do we have any more questions? We have already exceeded our time.
Correct.
So,
I have a quick word, Vikas, if I can do that.
yes, please go ahead, sir.
You talked about passwords. These days, you have literally hundreds of passwords that you are forced to create. So you've got frequent flyer cards, you've got financial cards, of course, and e-commerce cards, the hundreds of them. I mean, I was making a list one day and I ended up with 42 numbers.
Correct.
So how on earth can you even ensure that? And what is a safe password anyway? You talked about in the last slide, have a good safe password. Now, does one define that, honestly?
So I think when I say that safe password or a strong password, should always have the combination of alpha. I mean, you can say that a capital letters, small letters, and some of the special characters. Never use single quote as a special character. To remember all the passwords, I can just show you one of the application known as 1Password. So 1Password is the best app which has great encryption. Fortunately, it is not yet breached, and even if it is breached, nobody would have the actual passwords of anybody who are storing their passwords with this 1Password. And it comes with an extension also. So when you have this 1Password extension on a computer, it stores that password on an extension, but in an encrypted format. So this is the best suggestion I can give. That have this 1Password, but make sure that your 1Password's password is secure. So if you give that 1Password's password, then you're gone. Did I answer your question, I guess? Yeah.
Yeah, I believe
Yeah,
so.
I mean, sort of, actually.
Correct. The other way is when you have, let's say in the organizations, many systems, servers, anything, there are privilege access management solutions which are available. So when you get this privilege access management, it comes with two things. One is an SSO. Second is, you have this multi-factor authentications. So when you do this SSO and MFA, as a multi-factor authentication enabled for certain of your applications, certain of the websites, certain of the things, you just need to use 1Password to get an access to all those applications and all those resources. You really don't need many things. Also, you can control the access on your organizations of everybody and make sure that they don't have much of a privilege and they can do anything wrong with the organization, even if they have the password after leaving the organizations also. So these are the best way that people are nowadays moving to such solutions. If they have even 40, 50, 100 people's firm, and they make sure that only that 1Password is working for almost all the system successes.
Sorry, I missed that. You said a good password is one with a cap and a small and a character. Something else you said after that. I missed that.
I can say that the single quote, the single quote I have just shown the demonstration. The single quote should not be considered into special character. Should never have single quote as a special character in your password. You can use any other special characters which are available in your keyboard. Am I audible? I guess, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So any more questions we have from the participants? All right. So I'm sure if today we all know to lock our doors at night and put all our seat belts when we are driving, in 10 years from now, the same level of awareness will be given to ensure that we are also digitally secure. So, I mean, not, it should not be 10 years, it should be immediately. So I think our eyes have been opened by Sunny today. So thank you so much, Sunny, for this informative and secure session. I believe it's going to help our members and people listening to this. Thank you so much. And
I just want to add one more thing, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Correct. Okay. So with most of the business organizations I'm conducting the webinars, if they wanted to check whether they are secured or they are not secured, you can take my email ID from Ankita. I think Ankita can share the email ID. We provide with the free assessment, free report. It's known as a POC, proof of concept report, wherein you can, you don't need to give anything, maybe a concern along with, certain thing that you want to check. If we are able to successfully do that, we will come back to you with oh, these are the ways that we have breached, or one report would be submitted with how we have breached your organizations. If you're not able to do that, we will simply say in 2 days or 3 days that we have done all our things, but I think you have good security controls to do that. So free POC is a report that we share with many of the business organizations to make them aware that whether they are secure. Yeah.
So you can just send us a PDF or something.
I do,
we can circulate it to our members.
Sure.
Right. That would be a lot helpful for all of us.
Sure.
So I appreciate all of you joining us today. I wish you to suggest any topic if you want or anything. Or if any of you have any questions, you can write to us and we can forward that to Sunny. Well then, thanks again for joining us today. Be safe and be home and enjoy the lockdown. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.